Gentlemen, thanks so much for being with us. Today we are on Saturday, almost 7 in PM, Washington DC time. You guys, I didn't know they change time, so we don't change time, so we don't know. But that means we are late. But anyhow, so you guys have to to carry with us. I swear it is, but it doesn't mean we're gonna change the time because we're gonna continue to be at the same time as Washington DC, which means here it's gonna be at 1 o'clock in midnight. So anyhow, so that being said, today we have a program where we have a sister that you see behind me, Sister Juliet from the Gambia, who is going to be with us talking about a lot of things that is happening in the Gambia, but also in Africa in general, because the topic we're going to be talking about is pretty much something that is going on in many areas in Africa, which is repatriation or going back to Africa movement is something that has been happening in since long time, but for her side is it's also on her side is a little old. It's not something new. She's been doing this for years and years. But the idea of going back to Africa actually started by Marcos Garvey, our hero. As you know, in our Pan-African calendar, we have heroes where we celebrate our heroes. So Marcos Garvey is among the first heroes when it comes to Black people heroes, who is the first one to start Pan-African, but also going back to Africa movement. So that being said, let me give time to introduce my special guest that I haven't seen her for quite a minute and ask her a few questions. But also I'm going to give time to other brother who is on show, Brother Eugene, to introduce himself. So, Sister Juliet, welcome to New Africa Network and welcome to Pan-African Academy as well. How are you doing?
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me, and thank you for the welcome. It's an honor to be with you tonight. In fact, from here in beautiful Gambia in Africa on the West Coast. And, I just want to applaud you for the hard work and dedication that you've put in order to ensure that we are able to appear on your platform tonight. So, yeah, thank you so much. Yes, I'm incredibly well at the moment today. And I have had some health challenges recently, but today is a better day. So I'm glad that I could be on the show today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming back after maybe 2 or 3 years, about 3 years. I haven't have you, so yeah, I do appreciate for you to come back. Brother Eugene?
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I'm Brother Eugene Talford, reporting live from Charlotte, North Carolina. I am one of the co-founders of the New Africa Network and also chairman of the Afro Diaspora Political Economic Think Tank, in which the New Africa Network was formed afterwards. I appreciate all the brothers and sisters for tuning in this afternoon. And it's certainly a delightful springtime here in the U.S. and certainly always springtime in Africa. We appreciate our sister Juliet Ryan for coming on to share information with us, and also just to solidify our camaraderie. That is certainly important within the Afro diaspora to make sure that we're connected. So, Black Power and One Love, and welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Brother Eugene, and have a nice. You say is it spring over there?
It is springtime for sure.
Very good. Thank you so much. So now we don't have to do that, but I would like to ask Sister Juliet. First of all, how did she end up in the Gambia, and when was that?
Yeah, I actually came to the Gambia for the first time. It was in 2011. I actually came to Africa for the first time almost 30 years ago. And then I came to Gambia for the first time in 2011. And I loved it so much. I just said, this is my home. This is my roots. These are my people, and this is where I want to live. This is where I want to end up. This is where I feel at peace. Place is just so beautiful, and the environment is so beautiful, and it's so vibrant, and also it's small enough for you to feel as though you're included as part of a community. And so initially it was my family and I. We set out and we came, and my now ex-husband, Adrian Ryan, and our son, Caffrey, and my brother, Seth. So we came as a unit, but unfortunately, things didn't both so well with the marriage. So we were divorced last year, June. But every cloud has a silver lining. And so we were still able to keep on with Bla-Xit, thankfully, because of Perspective. And Perspective, after I got divorced, came to my rescue. So I got to give a big thanks to Calendar Briggs, because if it wasn't for him, I don't think that Bla-Xit would still be here. So I want to give a big thanks to Calendar. And Calendar Briggs and I then formed a relationship, and we have a baby on the way. So it's been a lot of change. So that's an exclusive here on your channel. I haven't even put it on Bla-Xit yet. So we've got a bundle of joy on the way. I'm really excited, and looking forward to life, and continuing with the struggle.
Very, very good. Thank you. Thank you so much. So pretty much you say that it's been since 2011. That's when you decide to move to Gambia, right?
Yeah, we moved to Gambia in 2019, 4th of February. And I moved here, like I said, with my then ex-husband. But unfortunately, that relationship broke down, and it has done for many diasporan couples, actually, who have made the transition. I think there are far too many African beautiful women here that provide temptation to men. And so, as it happened, my husband asked me for a divorce, and he has now moved on, and so have I, as I mentioned. So I'm actually, got a new addition to the Bla-Xit family, which is on the way. I'm pregnant at the moment, hoping to deliver soon. And like I said, I formed a partnership with Calendar Briggs from Perspective. So we've been together, working together. Oh gosh. Just 1 second, because it says my battery's low. Seth, can I have the charger for the computer, please? Sorry, excuse me, but the battery's running low. It says.
No problem.
Hello?
No problem.
Can I have the charger for the computer, please, quickly, because it's going.
Okay.
Hello?
Wait.
Is this it here?
When he came home, he came to the door and he was bouncing and very happy that it was his last day of school. And I was really happy until I was reading his, sorry, it hurts me quite a lot still. I was reading his shirt, and then I looked at the back of his shirt, and underneath the neck area, it had the N word written on it. And then it had
Seth, where's the charger for this?
and then it had coup written on it again, and then it had go back to the jungle written on it. From the family's perspective, we feel like it's going back in time, and it's opening old wounds that I faced severe racism. I went to school in Essex also, so it's affecting me in it's affecting me in more ways than one, because it's okay. Sorry. No, racism needs to be eradicated, and it's not right. It's not fair. My son shouldn't have to suffer like this.
You've experienced it as a child, and now you've seen history repeat itself with your own child. No, but thank you very much for coming in and speaking to us, because people do need to know that this is still happening.
Juliet.
Yeah.
This is you, right?
that actually feel quite emotional just watching that.
Yes, it's you, right?
Yes, that's me.
Which year was this?
I came in 2019, so that would have been 2018.
Around 2018.
Yes.
So you had experienced racism in England in 2018.
Oh, yes. I mean, it hasn't abated, and it hasn't changed. It's just like what happens with racism is that it's intergenerational and it's systematic, it's systemic, and it's institutional, and it's also social. So it's passed down from generation to generation. And the inherent problems that are there with racism or anti Africanism, actually, which is what it actually is, and hatred against Black people, is part of the society. It's entrenched. And the only way to escape it is to leave. And as I said, and I've always said this, I have my own mantra, which is the only way to eradicate racism is to leave it behind and go and live with your own kind. And I'll say it time and time and time again. The only way to eradicate racism is to leave it behind and go and live with your own kind. And that's the only way you'll be safe from the form of discrimination. And just to hasten to add that, it was both of my sons which were actually facing racist abuse. And I think that it's a situation that is still going on today. I'm sure you've seen recent reports of a young Black girl where she was terribly beaten, and sustained terrible injuries. And it's the same scenario that was going on then is still going on now. And it was the same scenario I experienced at school. I remember being beaten senseless, left unconscious on the road, after going to a party. So this is, part of the modus operandi for surviving in those countries in the West. And we weren't taken there by choice. Our ancestors were taken across to various places across the world in which they were forced, to work and be tortured and enslaved and forced to have the worst genocide and the worst and most inhumane treatment ever given to any people on the face of the planet, in the history of the planet. And so, even this is just making my nose was making me, tearful because of what we're still having to endure 400, 500 years on.
I see. So is that this the reason why you decided to start Bla-Xit?
Yeah, Bla-Xit. Actually, if you look at the history, you can go onto YouTube and go across the top bar, and it tells you videos, it tells you various other things, and then it will tell you about the channel. And you'll see that Bla-Xit channel was actually formed in 2011, which was the first time that we actually came to the Gambia. And the term Bla-Xit was a term which was coined actually. Initially, I heard it in an old reggae song. So that's where it was actually termed from some Rastafarians who had made a song. And so that's where I'd heard it from. And that song, I think, was probably in the 70s. It was like an old record. So a lot of people have claimed Bla-Xit, but they need to pay homage to, the Rastafarians who first coined it in the 70s. And I cannot remember the name of the group and I cannot remember the song, but I do remember hearing it. And so it influenced me and impacted on me to the extent that it was about our exit from, the West back to the best Africa. And it impacted on me. And then, of course, there was Brexit, which was all about England leaving Europe. So with that being said, it was the if you like the catalyst to helping Bla-Xit to become a more popularist view. So I can't actually take credit for it, and I don't think a lot of people in America and everybody are trying to take credit for Bla-Xit, but in fact it was a song from the 70s, which is, you know, before it was like when I was very young, so probably 73 or so. And so that is the first time I actually heard the term Bla-Xit in an old reggae song. So many people who are claiming it actually need to give credit to the originators who created the song. And so I got a trademark and so on and so forth and word mark, but ultimately those are the intellectual property rights that I own. But ultimately, I still pay homage to those. And so Bla-Xit was created because I realized the first time I went to Africa, I was 22. And it was such a marvelous experience for me, such a life-changing experience for me. And I think for many people, and that was over 30 years ago, so you can imagine, it gave me an experience that I will never forget. And it made me realize that they'd lied to us about Africa. Everything they said to me about Africa was a lie. I had the time of my life. I stayed in a wonderful hotel. You know, everything was amazing. And it was beautiful, beautiful. And so I just thought to myself, why have we been fed all these lies? I didn't see, you know, any babies sitting with flies all over their face and, you know, begging with biscuits and for water in the middle of the street and, you know, refugee camps or anything. I didn't see any of that. I saw people, you know, living their bustling lives and, you know, having their jobs, doing their work. And in fact, in some ways, it was kind of really refreshing to see compared to the life that I had in England. When I saw people living this life, I actually, you know, became like, in a way, resentful when I got back to England. And why am I living here when I could be living this great life and, you know, having, you know, a different pace of life? I could be having, you know, tranquility and peace and freedom and harmony. Why am I here? And so, yeah, it just, you know, it planted the seed in my head. And then when I saw the abundance in Africa, sheer abundance, I realized that, you know, in fact, we're not actually poor. And in fact, there's not a lack. The lack is a perception that is being given and constantly portrayed by Western media for Western reasons, so that they can justify taking our resources day after day after day after day and stealing and robbing from us in Africa, exploiting us every day in Africa, and, you know, putting us into debt and pretending that we don't have anything, when the truth is that we have it all, but we just don't have control of our resources. And that's something that needs to change and can change in minutes, seconds, and hours, if only we have the right mindset and we can start to work together instead of being crabs in a barrel. And that is what it is. And also have the courage to say no and to, you know, put contracts in place that control our resources. Yeah. And put, you know, leverage in place that leverages us to benefit from those contracts, as opposed to giving away mining rights and giving away drilling rights. And, you know, allowing all these large conglomerates to come and sell us back the same products that we're giving them as raw materials. So, you know, this is something that we have to change as Africans worldwide, is our mindset. Yeah, we've been miseducated, as Bob Marley said. Yeah, they've made us educated fools. They've given us paper and told us it's money while they take our gold. You know, they're giving us a miseducation and telling us that's the right knowledge, when the right knowledge came from us in the first place. Thoth is from Africa, the original knowledge. Imhotep is from Africa, the original knowledge. It's not Greek. So, you know, we have been misled. We have been misinformed. And we have given away all of our powers, our spiritual powers, our intellectual powers, and we can re-embrace them at any time because the knowledge is still there. It hasn't gone anywhere. They might have tried to burn it, but it still lives in people. And I discovered that when I went to, you know, Kush, modern day Kush, what they now call Egypt. And I went to Nubian village. And, you know, they explained to me how they were able to preserve the knowledge, you know, through memory and through keeping things in code and secret and handing it down from generation to generation. So it's still there. You just need to seek it. Seek and ye shall find. I mean, at the end of the day, for us, the relative difference between us now living in 2023 and us, you know, going and finding ourselves in Europe and America 400 years ago is relatively a similar scenario. And reason why I say that is because we're still incarcerated at, you know, a crazy levels. We're still not taking control as we should. In America, I'm seeing a lot of progress. So I am pleased with what I'm seeing going on in America. And I've got to, you know, take my hat off to my brothers and sisters over there in America for, you know, making the changes that I'm seeing there, especially with reparations. Also in the Caribbean, I've got to, you know, take my hat off to the Prime Minister of Barbados, you know, Miss Motley. She's doing amazing things. And so, you know, we are now making progress also to the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness as well, his Honourable Andrew Holness. Both of them, the honourables, they are doing amazing things. And now, you know, we're now seeing presidents in Africa now saying, look, we need to take control of our assets. I mean, don't get me wrong, as soon as they start doing that, they get killed and murdered. But, you know, at least they're making a stand. But if we can hand over the baton and we have someone to replace them, so as soon as they're taken out, we have someone else who's trained with the same mindset to replace them, because we've got to understand that, you know, death is not the end. So we need to stop fearing death. That's for sure. Yeah. Death is just the beginning of a new cycle. But they fooled us and made us live in fear. We need to get rid of fear because it's not a necessary tool. In order to do what we're doing, in order for me to be an activist, I have to, you know, stop thinking about that and just continue with the mission, which is to bring our people home. We have to come home to Africa because only we can fulfill the destiny and the mission and all of the requirements that are needed in order to regenerate and to refine our purpose and to ensure that we have food to eat and to ensure that we have clean running water and to ensure that our air is clean and to ensure that we can make it for generations to come. Because if you think that AI is going to not be a danger to us, let's not be mistaken. Let's not think about all the things that they're doing to the atmosphere, the geoengineering, the GM foods, and all of the various plantidemics that are happening, and the poisoning of us using different farmers and pharmaceuticals. So, you know, these things are going on, and we cannot pretend that the water that you're even drinking is even safe for you to drink or to even wash it. So, you know, we are being poisoned daily, and we must wake up and smell the coffee. It's time for that change, and only we can be the change that we want to see. And so Africa is the Eden that they speak about. Africa is the paradise that they speak about. And we have to find our way back there. There is such a thing as heaven on earth. It's Africa.
Well, I think let me add something on it. Maybe you guys can hear this, but Brother Eugene, if you have anything you would like to ask her, please come in before I get it to my, here. Wait for a second.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
So when we talk about media and its role, particularly its role in Black folks, we have to think about, as folks have mentioned here. So I'll wrap up quickly with, I just wanted to name again some of the things in terms of a media narrative that we have to understand what happens both here and in Africa. And I think these things have been mentioned. I wrote them down based on what folks have said today, and I'm going to run through it really quickly. This is the media narrative from the West to us about Africa, that is full of dictators, that is underdeveloped, that is full of bribery, that is primitive, that is corrupt, that is war-torn, that is uncivilized, that is food insecure. Here's the media narrative for Black people to Africans, either in the continent or in the diaspora when they come here, right? And the diaspora, particularly the ones who came here, not those of us who were brought here, I'm talking about in particular. That we are lazy, that we need to pull ourselves up our bootstraps because we don't take advantage of all our opportunities here, that we're violent, that we are full of criminals, that we complain, right? And that we're down with the imperialist project. That's the media narrative that's fed to you both on the continent and as newcomer Africans here in the United States to keep us apart. So we have to watch the media because, as stated at the beginning of my talk, the United States is an enemy, has been an enemy, and will.
Very good. So I just want to put that in for a second so that you may understand what is going on. We have a issue of miseducation, but also I've been in America. You know, it was very difficult for me to get around my fellow Black people in America. Very difficult. Why? Because one, I have assumption, but also my fellow Black people in America, they have misassumption on me. So it always have been like a struggle. First, I have to study, like when you go to school, you have to study people to understand exactly what is going on or what happened to them, but also them studying me and understanding me. So it's something like that because the media always make us fight. I think you will see that many people say like, oh, Nigerians don't like Black American. You know, you will hear that, you will see that, but it's actually not true. In fact, is if someone uses with ignorance there, you will find that out. Now, Juliet, from 2018 to today, tell me what is the area that you have struggled? Like, what is the challenge that you have encountered in your life?
Several. Like I said, with Bla-Xit, it's been incredibly hard because I think there was a saying, I'm trying to remember his name, who said that, you know, you use one hand to defend yourself away, you know, against your own people, and you use the other hand, you know, to try and help your people. And this is something that I have experienced, is the terrible self-hatred that we have. I've experienced terrible smear campaigns, cyberbullying, defamation, you know, libel, slander, and you know, being followed, being stalked. I was recently being stalked by a vlogger, you know, who kept just coming to my house. This American, I say African lady born in America. And he was a vlogger who's taken a very keen interest in my life and has told many misinformations online about me, as well as one who is with a white woman. And he has taken a very keen interest in spreading misinformation. I think he's done up to 50 or 52 videos, to the extent that I had to now engage a lawyer to sue him for defamation. So these are some of the challenges that I faced in terms of helping my own people. Also, we have a lack of patience and understanding for one another. And when you come to Africa, systems are different. And so we're so quick to call each other scammers because there's been a delay in the process. We're so quick to bring each other down and to say the worst and most heinous things. And we are the only community that does that at the level that we do it, at the intensity that we do it, the hatred that we spew against each other, the poison is beyond redemption at this stage. And there has to be a change. How many more of our leaders and people that put their head above the parapet to help you are going to be taken out by their own people? Marcus Garvey. Look at what they did to Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey should have been exonerated. He was never guilty of that crime. You know, Eugene, it was you, Brother Eugene, that put me in touch with his son, Dr. Julius Marcus Garvey, who I spoke to at length. And he, you know, was explaining that is the price that you pay. You know, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, you know, how many of our leaders, the Black Panthers, how many organizations are going to be infiltrated? We even tried to have an organization here called Code, and there was a lady here, and she's dark. I think she's got a channel called Sisters International. And even her, you know, she was very instrumental in causing a lot of damage to the organization, to the extent that, you know, we wasn't able to, rebuild what our aims and objectives were. I personally was not a constituted member of the organization, but I was definitely a supporter of the organization. And I really wanted it to grow and to develop. But this is the thing, we actually, you know, are our own worst enemies. And until we start to be our own best friends, and we start to think about, you know, group abundance, group prosperity, we don't have to do group economics. We can do group abundance and group prosperity. Bla-Xit has a company called Bla-Xit Group, and that is what we practice. And that is, you know, what we teach. Because this is what we have to do, is enablement. So instead of pulling someone down because they're successful, pulling someone down because they have a nice car or they have a nice house. So rather than dealing with the currency of jealousy, why can't we deal with the currency of success and sharing and teaching each other so that we can all have the same success, and getting rid of, you know, that green-eyed devil, the envy, the negativity. I've never seen so much. And the thing is that it's unnecessary, because if each one teach one and each one helps one, we can all succeed. We can all eat, as they say here in Africa, if we all feed each other. But instead of feeding each other, we're taking, you know, food out of each other's mouth, and, you know, then celebrating when someone is starving on the ground. This is not good. This is not good. I want everyone to come to Africa and to have a home and be mortgage free and be rent free, and to get their water from the ground and to get their power from the sun. I want everyone to be off the grid and to grow what you eat and eat what you grow. And it's a wonderful way to live. It's the best way to live. You wake up happy every day. And no one's controlling your destiny. You now have that control. You have that freedom. You're not waking up in the morning to think what bill has come through your door, what parking ticket has come through your door. You know, you're not thinking about, oh, I have to go and pay, you know, this is going to be taken off, that's going to be taken off. How am I going to survive? And people can say, but Juliet, you know, you're not talking about local people, but I haven't seen anyone here on the street starving. I see neighbors feeding neighbors, everybody helping each other. I see what community really is. I don't see homeless people all over the place sleeping, like in Skid Row in LA or in Oxford Street in London. I don't see that here. So, you know, we have the opportunity to make that change. And the perception that the media is giving about Africa is intentional. It's there to poison our minds. Corruption. How can they talk about corruption in Africa? Where did Africa learn corruption from? Is it not the colonizers? Wasn't it the colonizers that brought corruption to Africa? Wasn't it the colonizers that brought the government institutions, the legal institutions to Africa? If you read the book, Things Fall Apart, it makes it very clear to you exactly how they created those institutions. It's the colonizers that created the prison system, the penal system. It's the colonizers that brought their system of governance and religion. It's the colonizers that have come and poisoned the system. We had natural justice. We had natural, you sit under the mango tree with the elders and you have a discussion. You have the council of elders, and you have the council of elders with the women and the council of elders with the men. There wasn't this jungle justice. We have been taught to look upon ourselves as though we are the people, the progenitors of this, but we are not. We are not. How many years are we going to forget who our oppressors are? How many years are we going to forget what they did to us and our foreparents and are still doing to us now? Don't think that slavery has gone away. Go to a prison and look how many people are working in there for free. Slavery hasn't gone anywhere. It's just changed the name and the context and the narrative so that it looks more politically correct, but it's just the same. And at the end of the day, unless we start changing the narrative and taking control and being in positions of power where we can actually control that. And when I say that, I'm not talking about exploiting my brother, man. I recently watched a video with the president, I think, of Zambia. And he was saying, no, I'm not going to give you guys no new cars. You don't need to. There's nothing wrong with the old cars. When we start thinking logically about, taxpayers and who they are and the money, and we've been accountable for them, then we will start to look at the systems. But we can do a whole rehaul on the system. We don't actually have to have their systems. We're just being controlled by the IMF and the World Bank and these institutions that are now telling us how we live and how we got to have the money. And why are we still paying colonial debt? I don't understand. There's no need for it. You don't have to comply. You just don't. You'll still eat. You'll still wake up in the morning if you don't comply. And sometimes non-compliance is the only way forward. And we have to learn to be non-compliant. Why is it when it's a black man speaking, you're quick to go against them? But as soon as it's a white man speaking, it's yes, sir, massa. No. We need to be non-compliant. We need to realize that the narrative that has been spun by the media is just there to keep us in our place, to keep us obedient, and to keep us subservient and passive, and to make sure that we don't think for ourselves. Because the minute we wake up and we start thinking for ourselves, we start educating ourselves, we start educating our children ourselves, we start giving ourselves our direction, and we provide our own systems of sustenance, because that's what you need: food and shelter and water. Yeah, transport, all these other fancy systems that they're bringing in. You don't need no rocket to go to the moon. Go meditate. You understand? We had, the Dogons had their own natural system to see beyond the stars. They didn't build a rocket. Why are we spending all this money? Why is our money being spent? Why am I paying for, out of taxes for a king? Do you understand? Who's not benefiting us? And whose family were responsible for the enslavement of us? Where's the reparations? And it's time for us to wake up and smell the coffee and, say, look, this is the packages that we need to be putting into place. And we are not begging. Because if every black person said, you know what, I'm down in tools later, do you know how many countries would collapse around the world? Do you know how many economies would collapse around the world? But it's because of fear. And because we don't work together. If we owned so many farms and we had our own food and we could have our own colonies, then you know what we could achieve? Amazing things. And the thing is, it's not too late. It's not too late. I know by talking the way I talk, yes, I shouldn't be saying things that I say, but every day you wake up in debt. Why? Why are you waking up in debt? Why are you paying taxes? And half of them are illegal anyway. When you go back and you actually track the legal implications and laws behind those taxes, you find that half of those taxes are actually illegal. So why are you paying them? You're paying them because you're forced to. You're paying them because you think you have to, because you're not challenging the law. Where are our lawyers? Where are our accountants? You know, the bottom line is that in England, up until 2015, we were made to pay compensation through our taxes to the Treasury to pay compensation to the slave owners. I want my money back. I want my money back. And this is the thing. This is the thing. If only we could become powerful again. But you know what? We integrate too easily. And we assimilate so easily. And so as soon as you see a white woman and then you see a black woman, you know, sometimes a black man looks at the black woman, he turns his nose up at the black woman and he goes to the white woman, and then guess what? All the money goes back into their community again. So we have to start making choices where we say race first, as Marcus Garvey said. Since when are we going to get powerful enough to say that? And then you say this on the media, next thing you know, it's a problem. But the truth of the matter is that we don't have to watch the media anymore. We have got our own channels. We got our own voice. Bla-Xit channel, you know, is still out there. Just about, but we're still there. And, you know, we offer information. We give you repatriation information. We offer you, you know, investment opportunities in vast amounts of land in Africa so that we can, you know, come back and own some of our own heritage, our own legacy, because this is what we need, is legacy for future generations. Other communities, they're thinking 500 years ahead. And we're stuck at 5, 10, and 15, 50 years. So we have to start that investment. And we try to make land as affordable as possible so that you can get back home and you can live off the grid. Because when you take that money out of the system, over 450,000 people, 450,000 people have exited the West for the best. And that's Africa in the last few years. Imagine if each one of them was worth $1 million. That's $450 million out of their coffers. And this is what we need to do. We need to start, you know, taking our money out of the West and putting it into Africa. And that's what we have to do. And it's so important that we do that. And if we think that Africa is corrupt, then what is the UK? What is America? What are all them other countries? What is France? France is still taking money from Africa today. So, you know, let's not focus on that and focus on the best places to invest and invest there. Why are we focusing on the leaders? Look at England. How many prime ministers has England had in the last few years? I've lost count. So how can you talk about stability when England can't even keep a prime minister for 6 months? Who? Boris Johnson, now it's some other guy, and before that was some other woman, and before that was who? You know, at the end of the day, we have to stop judging ourselves on these harsh, you know, paradigms and start opening up to the opportunities that are there in Africa. Look how much abundance you can have with what you can grow. Look at the fruit that grows in Uganda, in the Congo. You know, look at Nigeria. You have what? Californium. Californium is worth how much? Is it not 27 million a gram? 27 million a gram. Come on, listen. We have to, you know, work together and pool our resources. If we pool our resources, we will be powerful. That's what other nations do, and that's what we need to do. But we lack trust. If we can start trusting each other and we can start building together, we can start developing together, then, you know, the future will be bright for us. And they do this very well in America. And we need to take a leaf out of the book of, you know, our African brothers in America and say, look, how did you do it? And say, look, we can do it. In certain African countries, they're great at doing it. But as a diaspora as a whole, you know, there are holes. And that's what I say, diaspora, die your ass poorer. We need to die our ass richer. And we can.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. Yeah, Black Power, sister. We appreciate you for providing that important information to us. And for certain, you hit on some very powerful points there. And for certain, I believe that we Black people all over the world are waking up to a level that has not been done since the Garvey movement. And many brothers and sisters are now weighing their options. And we believe that it is certainly a time in future that we ourselves are beginning to take more control of our destinies. And the future for us is very bright. We have some Black people, we call them the triple Bs, which is brainwashed Babylonian Black people who are still unconscious, but we're going to allow them to be unconscious while the majority of the Black people are moving into the future and beginning to take control of our destiny. For certain, with the investment side of Black people, we understand that the Babylonian nations have been raping us and our resources for many centuries, but we also understand that we are a new breed leader African generation, and the same types of tricks that were played on our ancestors, we are conscious folks that will not allow that to take place in this day and time, and we'll put our blood on that at the barrel if that is necessary. And yeah, you know, the Gambia itself is a very thriving place. The Gambia is a republic. It is the Republic of Gambia. Is located in West Africa on the West African coast of the mainland of Africa. It is surrounded by Senegal, and on the western part of it is the Atlantic Ocean. Yes. Gambia is situated at the lower reach of what's called the Gambia River, and it is also known as the Gambia Balonga, and the capital is Banjul, which is the major metropolitan city of Gambia. The Portuguese first colonized, landed in Gambia in 1455, and followed by the British Empire, which came in the 1765, which established the name itself as the Gambia. It is a Commonwealth country, and the capital, like I said, is Banjul. And we're looking forward to certainly working with our brothers and sisters in Gambia to continue to forge our alliance and relationship within the African diaspora. As I mentioned earlier, the African diaspora is fully awake, and we have been experiencing things all over the world with racism, but we don't have to. I often say, Black people, we're in the shit pot, but we don't have to stay in the shit pot. And it is certainly time for us to take responsibility for our future. And so we have new breed leaders like yourself, Sister Juliet Ryan, who is certainly on the forefront. And you spoke about how our leaders in the past were being killed or somehow destroyed in their plight for liberation. But like I say, too, we're a new breed leader African generation is not going to allow that to take place in this day and time without any type of repercussions. And so we proved that here in the United States with the lineup of certainly our Black nationalist groups. We have over 1 million representatives in the nation of the Babylonian nation of the United States. And outside of the United States, we have more than 30 million Black people who have united to come together to disassemble those political lines that the colonizers had once put in place for us to keep us divided apart. Certainly the media still plays a vital part in trying to destroy the movement. But this is a movement that cannot be stopped, not in this day and time. And so we want the world to know, as the new breed leader, African generation of people, that we're serious about what we are doing. And we will make sure that this happens by any means necessary. Wherever way you want to take it, you can take it like it is. The psychological effects of colonization and slavery have changed on many Black minds, as well as other groups of individuals who are not associated with the Black race. The confusion of being both a Black person and an African person sometimes makes some people shame. Black men and Black women sometimes are ashamed to be also known as being African. The new breed leader generation is certainly breaking these mental chains, and we're breaking the bondage, which was the yoke that was put upon our ancestors. And certainly we are a Black proud generation to honor both of who we are as a people. So, Sister Juliet, with your leadership, we certainly want to continue to support you by any means necessary that we can here. And I often tell our Black people, you don't have to be afraid anymore. There's no reason to be afraid because the Almighty and the ancestors have already ordained our future, our outcome. And certainly we have a small group of Black people who are not aware and don't understand. And some of them don't even want to be a part of this movement, but that's okay because those are the people that you don't want to be a part of your team. You want to build a team that is able to push the ball down the field to meet the goals. And certainly the goal that Dr. Martin Luther King, the promised land, it is in fruition in this day and time, 2023. And with our brothers and sisters in Gambia, we want to extend an olive branch to you here from wherever the African diaspora may be in the United States, in Canada, South America, the Caribbean islands, and also in the Western Hemisphere of Europe. We want to let you brothers and sisters know that we love you and that we will be making an effort to bring forth a very viable and intellectual future for each other. Our minds are the greatest. And with us interacting and forging our alliances and bringing down the barriers that the colonizers had put in place for us, we keep those barriers in place if we abide by them. And so now we're in a position now that we can forge our alliances. We can combine our financial resources. We can combine our intellect, and let's build these new smart cities that we've been often discussing these days. And the alliance will make us stronger in being able to do so. And again, there is no force and there's no army greater than Black people combined. We are the majority people on the earth. As we are combined as a collective group of people, there's nothing that we cannot achieve. Black power, sister, and we take our hats off to you and the brothers and sisters in Africa who are making these great strides, and we're not going to let anything stop us, not this point in time. That's for sure. Black power.
Thank you so much, Brother Eugene. I appreciate you. Black power. So so there's a couple of things I want to discuss with Sister Juliet from the Gambia. Brother Eugene already told us where is the Gambia, so I think let me just put that on map so people can see where is the Gambia, because it's often not easy to really find the Gambia, but this is the Gambia here. I don't know why they added "they" on it, but maybe Sister Juliet will tell us it's the only country has "they" on it. So anyways, Juliet, what does the Gambia mean, or where this name came from anyways? Now it's your home country, so
the Gambia, if you look, it sits quite comfortably in Senegal. There was a war between the French and the British, and obviously the river was of strategic point. And if you look in the middle of Gambia, it's surrounded and it's surrounded from the river Gambia. And so there was a war, and in the end, the English won. And so the Gambia became a British colony and only became independent, I think it was in 1962, if I'm correct. Either 1962 or 1965. I'll double check in February. And one of the issues that we found after colonization was the lack of development and infrastructure that was left. Banjul was called St. Mary, and of course you had the colonizers' names and the colonizers' areas because they had their own governance systems, and so also their own constitutions. And this is very important because right now, as you know, we're fighting for automatic citizenship here in the Gambia, and not just in the Gambia. I'm talking about all of the ECOWAS 15 countries. I believe that, you know, ECOWAS should be giving African citizens, African descendants, their own special card, you know, or passport. We shouldn't have to be begging. And this is just the thing, is that when we return to Africa, we return as Africans. And the thing is that we're now being called by our passports as opposed to who we actually are. And so when you come back, like even here in Gambia recently, they hiked up the price, even for the residency, and like it doubled for us. But yet for local residents and Gambians, it was only increased by like 200 dollars. But for us, it went from like 3,500 to 7,700. So that's a huge increase. So rather than like making it more cost effective and more welcoming, they've actually done the opposite. And so I think that we have a lot to discuss moving forward, because we need to have enticements. Ghana has enticements. Sierra Leone has enticements for African descendants wishing to return back to, you know, their home. Because most of us, we don't know where we come from. I can say look at Gambia, but if you used to tell me, oh, Juliet, exactly where does your family come from? What region? I've got no clue. People look at me and they say, oh, you're Fulani. Yeah, but I actually got adopted by a Jola family. That's why my name is Kujabi. My surname is Kujabi. That's my Gambian surname. But that my Gambian name still isn't on my passport. Do you see? I'm still identified by the European name and European identity. And then, you know, someone said to me, oh, would you give up your European passport? Why should I? You know, you've got family and friends there. Why should you? Why should there be either or when other people are having dual citizenship? Dual citizenship should be the norm. In fact, I don't even think that there should be a restriction on how many passports, whatever you can have. Who gives them the right? You know, we should have a borderless Africa anyway. You know, you're talking about why is Gambia here and Senegal here? These, you know, these are false. They're fake. They're a facade. They're a facade. It's not real. We give those borders life. We give that immigration life. We give the colonizers rules and regulations life. We do. If we was to say, you know what, forget all this, we're going to be like the United States, and you know what, you can go across to wherever. You have one African passport and you can travel. Do you know how much easier life would be? Do you know how much easier trade would be? Do you know how much easier just everything would be? I'm not saying that they shouldn't have rules and regulations in terms of crime prevention. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have rules and regulations with regard to crime prevention and other, you know, material factors that would affect, you know, one's livelihood or one's life and one's safety and, you know, one's well-being. However, you know, when you go from state to state in America, are you worried about that? No, you're not. If you're going from Houston to Texas, from Houston to Florida, or from LA to Philly, do you see? I mean, so why in Africa, why are we having to go through all of these barriers, all of these constructs just to go from one place to another? I remember when I was going to Guinea-Bissau, it was so much hassle. And why should we have to go through this hassle? This is all unnecessary. And it's unwarranted. It's very unwarranted. Sorry. Right? It's very unwarranted. And the thing is that if we could sit down and rethink the whole structure and decide that we want to change the structure, because your leaders are just like you and me. They eat food and sit down at a table. They're human beings. They're not a special breed of people. They're the same as you and me. So, you look at Senegal, because Senegal was now colonized by the French. Senegal speaks French, but look, Gambia's in the middle and Gambia speaks English, but then they both speak Mandinga and Wolof. So really, you're the same people. You've just been segregated by these borders. And why? Because a group of men sat down at a table in Chatham House and decided to carve up Africa amongst themselves and to determine which part they're going to get here and there so they can carve up the resources and enslave the people. It's the same thing they're doing in West Papua now. What's new? Look at what they're doing in West Papua. Look at what the Indonesians have done to the West Papuan people. Over 500,000 West Papuan people have been murdered or killed or genocided, whatever words, if the hat fits. Why? For the resources. You look at the companies that they're mining, BP, Freeport Moran, all of them taking gold and resources, natural gases, and so on and so forth. And it's the same thing that's going to keep happening over and over again. And our lives are going to pay. So we need to get rid of all of these borders. We've already been segregated by language and culture. But we can be united, especially if we decide, just like China has 51 language, but everybody knows that the national language is Mandarin. It could be Kiswahili. It could be any language, but that we speak as our own one tongue. And so these things are feasible and we can do it. It just takes time and implementation within our own curriculum. And we have to start with one generation. So if we started with one generation, with all the children in this generation, can you imagine in every other generation to come, we'd start somewhere. And I think starting somewhere is where it's important. And so in the history of Gambia, Gambia had one president for 22 years, Yahya Jammeh, Dr. Yahya Jammeh. And after him came in another president, which has been stable as well. And I've actually had the privilege of actually meeting him as well. And that is Honorable Adam Barrow. And I spoke to him also about automatic citizenship for African descendants coming back. And he was very aware. In fact, he actually lived in England, and he was also aware of, the limitations and the racism and discrimination that, goes on there. And he said, if you're a black man, you're an African. And so he was very aware of this. But the thing is that we still have these other countries coming in and controlling our countries, coming in telling us, oh no, you all have to go and you have to now be, was it LGBTQTPRSTQURSTUVWXYZEFG? B, sorry, I forgot non-binary. Is that NB, right? So, right?
They don't finish. It's always okay. It's changing every day.
And so this is confusion for me. I don't understand. To me, when you were born something, that is what you were. And so the world is changing as we know it. And the thing is that it's either we're going to stand on our values, our core values as Africans, or we are going to be misled, misguided, misrepresented, and misunderstood. And we have a choice in this. We have a choice in this. You always have a choice in this. You're not powerless and you're not voiceless. And you cannot be unheard. Once you say something, no one can unhear you. You know, Malidoma Patrice Sume, you know, I remember once I was talking and he said to me, Julia, even the dead can hear you. Yeah. And so what does that say? It says to me that, you know, we have to also remember our ancestors. And we are one of the few nations that do not pay homage to our ancestors on a global and national level. Where is our national day? National, I mean worldwide national day for us all to mourn our ancestors that were enslaved. Which day? What day? I'm not talking about African Liberation Day. I'm saying which day is a national day that people know Black people should go to work on that day. And everyone should pay homage and reverence to their ancestors. Which day is that? That's a global national holiday. Which day is that? How many more Black people have to die before we realize that we need to pay homage? We cannot let their spirits and souls be, you know, die in vain. And how many of these borders, these fictitious borders, have created death? Look at Stephen Biko. Look at how he died. Look at Patrice. There's so many. I mean, it's terrible that I can list one after one after one after the other.
Well, that's certainly what we've been talking about as far as the reparations movement is concerned.
Yes.
And it's important that we recognize that the blood that our ancestors spilt, and also how they were killed, and just for them being themselves, for us to not want anything for the reparational causes of that effect on African people worldwide. Certainly for those idiots who don't think that African people deserve reparations, they must be brain dead. And for us to really focus on the point of some people say, well, that was such a long time ago. No, it wasn't that long ago. Right here in the United States, it was only since the 1960s when our Black people had the right to vote, go to the polls without having to be murdered for wanting to vote. And we continue to see the atrocities today. And you don't think we need to be compensated for that reparation wise? Oh, no, we're not going to let them get off the hook for that. And they also know that as well. But we must be vigilant and we must stand in unification. And like Sister Juliet said, with us ourselves removing those colonial boundaries that were put into place and the divide that we think we're different because one Black person may speak French and the other Black person may speak Portuguese and the other Black person may speak English. These are languages that were imposed on us, and these were boundaries that were set in place when our Black people didn't have control of the lands and the resources. But to continue to keep those boundaries in place without being challenged is certainly our responsibility to make sure those things are challenged these days. I often say, take the Western education that you have learned and make that work for you, regardless of what the language barrier may consist of. That should not have a role in our plight for unification. And so, yeah, we're resilient people and we've gone through a lot, and there's still a lot of things that we will have to challenge. But being a force of people to move towards reconciliation. And once we get off the white man's balls, everybody's going to feel happy. That's what we are moving towards. You got to learn how to get off of someone else's connection that they put in place to hinder us from being united, to be able to move forward in the future. And that is certainly what we're moving towards these days. So I know it's getting a little bit late in the conversation that we're having here, and the brothers and sisters in Gambia are certainly aware of what's taking place both here in the West, and we're certainly conscious enough through the media aspect that we control ourselves to be able to understand what's happening there. Now, Senegal has just had a recent rally with the people uprising. The people have come to challenge the government against the Western powers. How has that been affecting the people in Gambia as that has been going on as well? Have you seen the Gambian people as well of coming to the forefront and challenging these colonial powers, Sister Juliet?
I think I see Senegal as as having its own autonomy, and so Gambia has its own autonomy, even though they might have relatives, living in Gambia and the same families in Senegal. This is caused. I mean, you can go into one village, and in half of the village is Gambia, and the other half is Senegal, and so it's very strange. It's very, very strange. And, but everybody's living in peace and harmony. And the thing is that if you look at what's happened in Mali, you look at what's happened in Burkina Faso, you look at what's happening all over, even a lot of Francophone countries, they're saying, no, I don't want a colonial debt. No, I don't want your colonial controls. Macron has been embarrassed so many times. It's been unbelievable. And even now in his own country, he's having problems. Look at the uprising that's going on in France, right? Because people are getting fed up and tired. I mean, look at the debt that's going on in England right now. People can't even afford to eat. People are going to food banks. Can you imagine? These are supposed to be first world countries, and food banks are running out of food. People are living, under debt. They can't even afford to put the heating on. And these are first world countries. So you don't need the heating on when you come to Africa. You have the natural sun. You don't have to be paying these colossal heating bills and water rates. And, these chemically preserved foods. So we have to think, like I said, as you said, about what is going on. The uprisings that are going on against these colonial institutions, they have to be done with a plan in mind moving forward. Because if you look at what happened in Zimbabwe with the farmers, if you look at what happened there, how did that benefit us? If, going back, look at Nelson Mandela. How did that benefit us? What, more integration? No, we don't need that. We need to build our nation. We don't need more integration. We need to build our nation. We need to have those skills in order to use that machinery, develop that machinery, manufacture that machinery, produce that machinery, and create our own produce, control our own price margins, export and import our own goods at our own controlled prices.
And when you speak about that,
resources, yes, the raw resources. And so,
and
when you talk about, uprising, we have to have something in place comprising of the system that's going to replace it and that will benefit the people. All of the people, so everyone in the country benefits, not just the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer, because that happens all too often, where the top layers eating, and then there's all this nepotism. My cousin is your cousin, and your brother come in, and you helped me with this, and you did this, and then all the people at the bottom, and there's still the people, in the bottom tertiary, which is not what you want. You want equal distribution of resources. We need more of a resource-based economy. And so once we start to work on a resource-based economy, that is where we'll find our strength. As you know, I remember a good friend of mine, Chief Benny Wender, said to me, Julia, I would rather go to the forest and dig up sweet potatoes and yams because I can't eat gold. And he said, the forest is my supermarket. And so, we have to get back to the fundamentals and come away from these colonizer values. Because it's the colonizer values that's got us fooled. It's the colonizer values that's got us ruled. We need to come away from the ruler. We don't need their rules.
Yeah, for
Get
sure.
the ruler and break it.
Right.
At the end of the day, we need autonomy.
Right. And when you talk
Yes.
about sanctions, and you talk about these Western nations putting sanctions on African nations,
Yes.
what right do they have to put sanctions on anyone? Tell you the truth, because they're the ones that have caused most of the problems, and they ones need to be sanctioned. And when we allow these politicians to buy into that, I think it's a hindrance. It's a real big hindrance to us as a people, and even to you may have a country like Zimbabwe, and now they're trying to oppose sanctions on Uganda and in Ethiopia and in any other countries that had stood up against them about what they are trying to how they are trying to control African people and African nations. We don't even have to abide by that. I don't see why it's any sense for any African nation who lives next door to a so-called sanctioned nation not to even try to do business with them, because that's not in the best interest of Black people. That's not in the best interest of African people. So to abide by a colonized rule, someone who is millions of miles away from where the actual people live and where they have to be the ones that govern themselves, they should not have any connections to that. And we have to really dig deeper as a people to understand the psychological warfare that we're challenged with. These measures have been put in place for many centuries. And of course, for us to continue to play into that logically does not make any sense at all. So we are the controllers of our narratives. And once we realize that, there's no limitation to who we can be. So our goal is right now to take Africa into its superpower well-being. We are the generation to do that. Generation X, Y, and Z is at the table now. And certainly we're going to make sure that takes place on our time and our watch in these days and time, in this day and time. So whatever we can do to help support and bring the knowledge to the people to help them unify. We have brothers like Dr. Umar Johnson. We have standing brothers like Dr. Anderson, and so many dynamic brothers and sisters who have the intellectual well-being to be able to make this happen on our dime. And certainly for you as a leader in the Black community right there in the Gambia, we need more brothers and sisters from the Afro diaspora to set foot on the continent to begin to bring down those barriers. And certainly we're the people to do that. Brother Monty, I know we're getting a little bit here in the towards the end of the program today. Anything else you'd like to add in for this?
Can I add something to what
Yeah, go ahead, sister. Yeah, that's what it is. It's dialogue. That's what we do.
I just want to add something, is that if we were unified and integrated, we would use the power of boycott. We know that it was useful in the 60s. Yeah, we know that Berlin Conference, it doesn't need to exist anymore. The powers of Berlin Conference doesn't need to exist anymore. This is an archaic, out of date decision system that was implemented against our will. So it doesn't need to exist anymore. We don't need the UN to tell us how to live. We know how to live. And so we need to unify. If we use the power of boycott, you would be amazed what you could achieve. Economy is based on scarcity and gain. Once you create that scarcity, what do you create? A demand. Just understand basic economics, basic concepts of economies of scale. And we could make the difference and make the change. Because you know what? You'll be amazed. How many people stopped taking the bus? Look at Rosa Parks. What did it do to those companies? It bankrupted those companies. Instead of bankrupting our own companies and trying to destroy our own companies, we should redirect that energy into who, the real oppressors are, who the real enemy is. Because, we've forgotten even what that word even means. But yet we are faced with the experience of living with the end result of what the enemy gives us, which is the breadcrumbs that most of us have to survive on when we live in the West. And so, but like I said, we have choices, but the power of boycott mustn't be understated. The power of boycott must not be, forgotten. It needs to be implemented and used and coupled with non-compliance.
Thank you so much. So yeah, I got a lot of points I would love to talk about, but our time is giving us hand, so it's not our friend. But one thing I want to say is when it comes to reparation, I want to talk something about that, and also the sanctions, which is our country in Ethiopia now, we are facing sanctions as well. So reparation is something that is inevitable. They have to do reparation because they have done wrong to us. And reparation in terms of money, I don't even think that is what we are looking into, because the money is corrupting. The Western have created a system of fake money that is become like paper. It's just like, as we say, paper. It's not really money. It's just they are destroying that anyways. They are demolishing the money. So if they pay us money, and that means they will have already created a way that they're gonna demolish money so that you don't have anything anyways at the end of the day. So I think those who are in charge of reparation, you guys, you need to be very careful how to take care of that, because I think it should be something that is not money, money-wise, maybe something that's tangible, like property or like gold or diamonds or something that does not lose values easily. That is my opinion. Now, when it comes to sanction, we, the African people, have give this power to our colonizers. We fail to unite. Every day, we, the people of Africa, we fear unity. That is one of the tools we have not tried and we are not using. So I don't know who's coming in, but let me let him in. Jack, thank you for joining us. So now, so if we do not unite, we definitely will not be able to come against those sanctions, because we are powerless. You talk about like Zimbabwe. They destroy completely the economy of Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe cannot live at all. Even growing food, they bring those hybrid food that now the land is not productive at all. Why? Because Mr. Mugabe say, no, I don't want these people in my country because they are colonizers. They're not supposed to be here, which I 100% believe is what is supposed to be done even in South Africa. And South Africa, we're talking about Mandela. He's the most person who betrayed his own people. Black people in South Africa, they are suffering. The Western, they promote him like he's a hero. He's hero of what? Nothing at all. He didn't do anything. First of all, he betrayed his own wife. So that is the first thing you should know about Mandela. Not raising a hand and say reconciliation and all of those kind of nonsense. There's no reconciliation between white people and black people. There is no way. If you want to reconcile them, keep them in Europe. They don't need to be in Africa. If there is white people who are nice, by the way, when I say white people, I'm not saying all white people are bad or evil. I'm just saying that collectively, we haven't seen good things come from them collectively. But individually, yes, we do
historically.
have white. yeah, we do have white people who are individual, very good, and who push, who need to exist and who need us to exist. But collectively, like organizations like World Bank we're talking about, or those the intelligence community and United Nations, all of that, they are destroying Congo. We haven't seen any thing good come from them. So I cannot believe or think any collective organization or institution that is made or created by white people that is good for black people, for Africa. Now, you guys, maybe you know one, but I don't. So, but if you talk about bad ones, I can tell you KKK, I can tell you whatever it is.
Oh, it's certainly it's an unlimited amount for sure, brother. It's an unlimited amount of them.
Yeah,
But
but
we're
for
larger
individual,
and more in charger. So for certainly, anytime
yeah,
they want a challenge, we up for the challenge. That's for sure. But
yeah.
certainly,
So
yeah. Go ahead, brother.
yeah, so I think I have to ask Sister Juliet in Gambia a few questions. One is about we black people, because we are the problem. Trust me on this. We are the problem. Why? If someone take advantage of you 1 year, 10 years, 20 years, 100 years, 400 years, and you haven't discovered that there is something wrong, you can definitely decide and believe that you have a problem. So why don't we, as black people, learn how to deal with this mala of problem that we're facing? We went in through slavery. They created medicine and the biochemical. They created. They took our diamonds. They took our people for slavery. They come the colonizers. They cut our hands in Congo and for our children. In Gambia, they genociders. In Rwanda, they did. In Somalia, they destroyed. In Haiti, they took diamonds and gold and they created the city banks. In everywhere, every corner. How come we black people have not figured out that there is a problem? Juliet, how do you think we should fix this?
Well, firstly, I mean, I don't know if you've heard of a condition called Stockholm syndrome. And Stockholm syndrome is, where you actually, love the person who perpetrated the crime upon you. And this is a problem that we have because we have been conditioned. And this conditioning hasn't happened overnight. This conditioning has happened over centuries. And the thing with the conditioning is that there's reinforcement on a regular and constant basis. And so the reinforcement is to hate the way you look, hate your own people, to hate anything that represents your culture. I recently watched a video with a Nigerian lady who was humiliated by a brother who was, born in America. He called himself an American. I'm not your brother, I'm an American. And, he asked her what she was doing because she was obviously begging for some money. This was in Canada. So he actually wasn't from Canada himself, by the way, which was, quite ironic. And he, went to humiliate her and, was asking her, why is she begging? Why is she leave Nigeria to come here? And, this and that for a better life. And I said, hang on a minute. You guys went into Nigeria. You destroyed Nigeria. You destroyed the kingdoms. You destroyed the economy. You took the raw resources. You took control of the oil. You broke up natural communities and countries and colonized them into areas to create war and unrest. And then you destabilized the whole economy. And then you want to talk about why they're leaving. What are you talking about? Why was you there in the first place? Why did you steal and rob from them in the first place? And so we have to go back to the core, which is what you did.
You are
what
still
you
doing.
did caused the problem. So you can't come into my house, destroy my house, and then when I come out of my house to go to your house now, you're telling me about, no, you can't come in my house. What are you talking about? You destroyed my house. So where do you want me to go? And so this is the issue that we have. And so because of that hatred, the way that the man spoke,
Got a little froze right there.
I see. I think I thought it was only me, but yeah.
Yeah, I certainly know the video, the media footage that she's speaking of, and it was a black man that kind of put a black lady from Nigeria on the spot about why is she in Canada when she could be in Nigeria, and this gentleman kind of belittled her, and which I felt that was it wasn't his responsibility to do so. But then again, they get back to those triple Bs, the brainwashed Babylonian blacks who sometimes don't understand even their own history. And think that he's so much better because the woman on the street was asking for money. But I often tell black people, don't let that money fool you, because money comes and goes. But the unification of black people don't come and go as easily. So that is something what we must lean more towards. So to see our brothers and sisters sometime on the street, there are many shelters full of black people who don't have a home, living under bridges, living in woods, and don't have the ability or resources to pull themselves up because of systematic racism that has been put in place to hinder our people. But for certainly that gentleman, hopefully at some point in time, he'll begin to understand as he become more wiser and more knowledgeable about himself and how things exist, why things exist within the black communities of the world, that we can begin to approach these problems and come up with the solutions that we need to. Did Sister Juliet get a chance to come back in, or?
I don't know. I'm still waiting for her. But let me play this video a little bit, and then I'll be waiting for her for a second.
Negroes vote for in the coming election. I wouldn't suggest that they vote for any party or either party. I would suggest that the so-called Negroes
Turn it up a little bit, Amani.
Sure.
Okay.
Realize the power that they hold in the field of politics, and then once the person who is running is aware that this man is awakened to the power that he holds, then that person who is running will approach that Negro on a more intelligent plane. As it is right now, most of the Negro leaders sell out to the white politicians for crumbs. And a political awakening among Negroes will make it impossible for the present Negro leaders to sell our people out as they've been doing in the past. So you do think Negroes should vote? Negroes should do whatever is necessary to bring about a complete solution to their problems. When I say whatever is necessary, they should have the flexibility to do whatever is necessary to solve the problem.
Yes, so anyhow, you talk about this woman. I watched the video as well. The problem is that this man who's kind of intimidating her, he think that it's his right to ask, why do you have this big country with all of this, and then now you are here begging, you know? One thing he does not know, Nigerians are the most of educated people, and Nigerians are the most of richest people as well in any other place. But also Nigeria is the most of exploited country. So what he's talking about, I think she's backing in. What he's talking about over there is the fact that he does not know that his country where he's sitting is the one that is destroying Nigeria. Is the one that the natural resources that the phone is using is the one that is stolen from Congo. So he should be ashamed to actually embarrass his own sister in that level, even if he was, let's say, like he found her doing something bad, not just begging, because begging is naturally, if you don't have any other option, you can beg. But if it's something was like very, very bad, maybe she's burning money, or she's torturing someone or something, you can record that and put on media. you take the sister around and tell, hey, why don't you do this in this way? So it's just something that I did not like that, but what can you do? Anyways, so when talking to the Black Judas, because obviously, as I was saying, I think we have problems as Black people. I've been around, I've been in India, I've been in Bangladesh, I've been in Mexico and the US and most of European countries. I have not found white people betraying white people. I haven't seen that in that level. Yes, they may betray each other in some scales, but not to our level. You don't see Black people, white people betraying each other on small costs. Okay, at least the small costs. I haven't seen Hispanic people betraying Hispanic people at all. Don't even mention about the Jews. They don't betray each other. I mean, white Jews. Or those European Jews. Don't talk about Russians or even Chinese, Indians. They don't betray each other. But you can count numberless. Marcos Garvey, you were talking about, he was betrayed by someone who's supposed to support him, which is Du Bois. And people don't talk about this. I don't really know why. He was betrayed by Du Bois and the Boule. This is stupid organized Negroes who are loyal to white people. And then when it comes to Malcolm X, he was betrayed by his own people. When it comes to Martin Luther King, Jay Jackson, why don't you guys mention him? He's the one who betrayed his own brother. When it comes to Freddie Hampton, he was betrayed by his own brother. What is his name? O'Neill Williams, some stupid names like that. So we have this kind of chain going on. Here in Africa, Burkina Faso, Thomas Sankara was betrayed by his own friend next to him, Blaise Compaoré. Patrice Lumumba was betrayed by Mobutu Sese Seko. And you can count numbers of our own people that betray each other. Even there is some rumors about, by the way, what is his name? President John Joseph Magufuli, that he was betrayed by people from next to him, people who he loved. So it's rumors, so don't quote me on this. But why, Juliet, please, can you tell us what is the problem with Black people? Why do we betray each other? You too, you say somehow your marriage is destroyed already. You already say that, but even Bla-Xit is in danger as well. It was put in danger. So why is that? What is in our DNA?
Yeah, I mean, I've personally experienced high levels of betrayal. Bla-Xit was targeted in an intentional campaign and infiltrated in an intentional campaign. And like I said, it cost me my marriage. It cost me so many things. It cost me so many things. And like I said, I just give thanks to Canada Briggs, who came to my aid to support me to ensure that Bla-Xit could continue. And so, after I was divorced, I had to pick up the pieces, and start again. And like I said, fortunately, he was a strong Black man. He's a Nigerian from Port Harcourt. And, he was able to stand by my side and to help me. And so now, like I said, I'm able to start again in a sense, and also start even my family again, like I was explaining to you, that, we're expecting a baby. So it gave me back that faith that I had. But the betrayal that I had, even about my own personal life, I was reading about myself and hearing about myself and seeing things. And it's just like saying that, oh, I cheated on my husband. No, I didn't. I was actually divorced. But they'll do anything to destroy your reputation. And they do it because of a number of reasons. One of them is because Black people don't think they deserve, to have a good deal in life. They just don't think that they do. I think it was a book, Marcus Garvey, I think it was Booker, when he said that we're like crabs in a barrel. As soon as one of us starts to get, out of our situation, we pull each other down. And the reason for this is because we have deep-seated insecurities that have not been dealt with, that are intergenerational. We have traumas and attachments. We have psychological issues. And these psychological issues play out in everyday life. And because they're not being dealt with, because we have not been healed. We have not healed from slavery. We have not healed from our enslavement, from the trauma. You know, Dr. Joy DeGroy talked about post-traumatic slavery syndrome. And this is exactly what he said. Each time I want to fight for African rights, this is what I posted the other day. Benjamin, that's it. Benjamin Barombo. That's who I was talking about. Each time I want to fight for African rights, I can only use one hand because the other hand is busy trying to keep other Africans who are fighting me. And I have constantly had this fight. I've had people make up allegations and go to the police and make up allegations against me, which were complete and total and utter lies. Total and utter lies. I've seen things about me online. I remember seeing someone write something about Juliet got boxed in the face. I said, I did? By who? When? You know, and this is it. You know, it just why do you do this? But a lot of people, I'm so sorry, but they're manipulated for money. And even when it's not for money, they just want to see you down. And they take pleasure in seeing you down because we are psychologically programmed to hate each other. They'll go and stab and shoot their brother man, but when they see a white man, they can't raise that gun or that knife. Because why? We have been so conditioned to be numb to even seeing ourselves as human beings, as feeling, breathing, alive, that we are valued and that we value each other's life. We were seen as, you know, just a piece of meat. And unfortunately, this was conditioned into us. We watched our own brothers and sisters being hung, being lynched. Yeah. And so and raped. Yeah. So basically, this is something that has been going on for a long time. So it put fear into us. And this fear has become so internalized within us that we can no longer even sometimes discern between fear and being empowered. We can't tell the difference. And what do I mean by that? I'm so scared by a situation, but I think I'm empowered. Right? Okay, I'll give you an example. I'm here representing, yes, reparations and repatriation. But no, I'm scared of going to Africa. I'm scared of Africans, in fact. Yeah, this is the mindset that some people have. So for me, I represent an enemy. I did a program about this because it was a condition that was cited by Samuel, I've forgotten his surname, a psychologist. And, he actually, made out this condition, which is for people who ran away from the plantations. And the people that ran away, which were the enslaved people that ran away, he said had a mental condition because they left the plantation, which was good for them. And this is the same psychosis that we have today even. I'm being shot down because I'm telling you to get out of the plantation. But because I'm telling you to get out of the plantation, you're now looking at me as enemy of the state. Because I'm taking you away from your Wendy's or your Kentucky or, your 24-hour shopping mall and big Slurpees or whatever. Instead, I'm saying to you, come and eat mangoes and have, coconuts and fresh bananas and, fruit with seeds in them. Yeah. So this is what I'm saying. Come and live natural life. But because you've been so used to having all of this, I would say, I don't even know what to call it, you know, altered food. That's not natural. That you think that it is. And that is what it is. We've forgotten who we are. We've forgotten our power. And we've given our power away. And unless we sit down and embrace our power again, we'll keep giving it away because we've forgotten how powerful we are. That's why we destroy each other. Because rather than trying to empower and make someone stronger, we're making each other weaker. And we take pride in doing that. We destroy our hair. We destroy our skin. You know, we don't look like what we look like. I mean, how many other people wear someone else's hair and try and lighten their skin to look like another race? How many people do that? And then spend good money to do it too. And don't feel beautiful unless they're looking like a white person. You know, the psychosis is deep. And so, yes, we're going to really hate each other. And we hate each other's success. When anyone's got money, don't you see how much fire they come under? Look at what they did to Dr. Umar when he was doing his school. And I looked at all of the black people that were trying to destroy the man, trying to build, to do something positive, you know. And the thing is that no matter how positive he became, sorry, someone's trying to call me, I'm just going to put it, take the sound off. Yeah, no matter how positive, you know, he was and what he was trying to do, there were still the same people over, and it's like they're being planted, and it's like they're being employed, and some of them are agents. I'm not going to pretend that people aren't being employed.
Yeah, for sure, sister. Tell it. That's what's happening.
Yeah, MI5, and even against me, there are proper agents. I kid you not. Some of these people, even one of the guys that made so many videos against me, he's a criminal. He had 2 stretches that he ran concurrently, which is 5 and 7 years, and you can't even see what his crime was. Yeah, and he was deported from America for embezzlement and fraud, but he's online critiquing as many people from the Pan-African community as possible. And why can't we come together to deal with him?
That's a plan, and we know who they are. We certainly know who they are.
On YouTube, and I'm having to take my good money to go and sue him. But I shouldn't have to. There should be a black community organization that should be there that we go to, just like they have Anti-Defamation League. Where is our Anti-African Defamation League? So when we're being targeted by these individuals using social media, because you know what, I also blame the social media platforms, because what do social media platforms do? As soon as you're talking positively about Africa, you're talking positively about anything to do with black people, all of a sudden, you do not get the traction, you do not get the views, you do not get the subscriptions. But as soon as it's something negative to destroy your brother man, to fight against your brother man, thousands of views. Thousands of views. And the people that run the channels are the same people that are involved in the Anti-Defamation League. Yeah, and many of these organizations are institutionally anti-African and racist. And the thing is that we give our faith, not just our power, but we have faith. We have this white salvation, solution finding faith in these people that they are our saviors. And until we remember who they are and what they've done, it's like we've got amnesia. Until we can undo this psychosis, this sleep that we're in, this slumber, we are still going to hate each other, bring each other down, destroy each other, kill each other, rob from each other, destroy each other. Why? Because we lack solidarity. We lack solidarity, we lack unity, we lack community. And we lack understanding the power of the resources that we can have at our own fingertips and our skills and our abilities.
That's for sure, sister. Thank you for that information. I think sometimes we just think that all black people are together, and it's a saying that all skindred is not kindred, and we won't be able to save all black people. We have to realize that also. We have to seek out individuals who are in like-mind interests as at having that Pan-Africanist, having that black nationalist mind of thinking, and move on what we have to move on with. If the other black people, they cannot see what the mission is, then we're just going to have to let them be how they are, and just concentrate on those who have like-mind interests. So Black power to you, sister.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's hard.
Yeah, it is. It's very hard. It's very hard.
Get a restraining order. You know, I had to go and get a restraining order against another vlogger. Can you imagine?
Well, I tell you what, next time you have that, you let me know. We're going to have some of our Black Panther members pay the person to visit. When you have that problem again, let Brother Eugene know. We're going to have some Black Power brothers from the Black Panthers. We'll have them pay them a visit and give them some of that street justice. That's what's up.
I have her address in the US. I have her address in the US.
Yeah, that's for sure. And they know we don't play no games, and that's what's up. We don't play no games with none of them, and not ashamed to let people know that as well. And we let our Black brothers and sisters know, when you're tired of being on the bandwagon with the oppressor, hey, our doors are always open for you. You can always come home. That's for sure. But if we find out for sure that you are underhanding and despising anyone in the Black community who is trying to make progress, we can have methods and ways to deal with that. That is for sure. So, Brother Monty, I'm going to go ahead and turn the mic over to you. I know it's about that time, brother. Go ahead and put any last words of advice that you or conversation you may have available.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, Sister Juliet, for joining us today. We appreciate for your presence. Don't be distracted. We are moving forward. We're not gonna drop this as a revolution. We're gonna have to keep pushing. So you definitely need to understand that the most of cost for is to try to liberate Africa, and you cannot liberate Africa without liberating Black people in anywhere they are. So it's all touched together, and it costs a lot, and you should be willing to pay the price. You don't know what is gonna happen, but keep pushing. If we don't make it, our children will. So now, in closing, I think you should just say one thing, like, where is our Anti-Defamation League, Black People Anti-Defamation League? I think that's one of the things we must working on. And you too, Juliet, Sister Juliet, you must work on that to create a system of reward and punishment for Black people. Yes.
I agree. I think you should start with the Negro that everybody should pee on first. Yeah, everybody should definitely pee on that man. They need to defecate on him, pee on him, and put so many complaints on YouTube about him until he's gone. Yeah,
well, we can reach out and touch him. I can reach out and touch him.
Our Pan-African community.
We got the power to reach out and touch somebody.
Reach out and pee on that and defecate on that person right there.
Well, yeah. I know we get towards the end, and I'd like to read off our creed before the end of the program. I am African, regardless of where I was born, where I live, my ethnicity, my religion. Africa is my identity. God bless Africa. I am African.
Very good. Yeah, that's definitely our new Africa Network create. I appreciate for you, Brother Eugene, to read that, and we have to preach that every day because we have a problem of religion, ethnics, where you are. Who colonized who, whatever it is, so many what language you speak and all of those kind of things. But I think we must go over that and look the big picture, which is our survival. Our survival as Black people is not based on which country you live in, which country you were born in, which ethnic you have, which religion you practice. I mean, if you are Muslim or Catholic or Protestant or Hotep, whatever it is, so you guys, you may call it, or ancestor things, or Anglican, or whatever religion, that is not our survival. Our survival is based on one thing, our unity. So yeah, definitely. So anyways, I'm gonna close up with this. I'm gonna close this program today. I appreciate you, Sister Juliet. We are always live on New Africa Network every Saturday in 6 p.m. in East US time. That is in English. Sometimes we may have a guest who speak maybe French. As you know, our family is so big, or who speak Portuguese or Spanish. So if we have that, we go with that as well. But most of the time is in English. Whereas on Sunday, 6 p.m. in East Africa time, we are live in Kiswahili. So that's where we talk a lot more about things inside Africa with in our own language. So don't forget to join that. But also we have Kiswahili class on online. I just started that. I'm setting up that. So if anyone want to learn Swahili, please join us. Join our Swahili class on Patreon. So we have a Swahili class that is going on. I'm putting together all the platforms, so it would be full class on internet. So that being said, I appreciate you. Don't forget to join us and to subscribe to our New Africa Network YouTube channel. And let me see something now right here. Yeah, New Africa Network YouTube channel and other social media as well. And also keep us sister updates if there is anything that you are experiencing that you think someone can help you. We may not be able to help you financially, but the voice, we can definitely have a voice in your direction, so that can possibly free you in some areas. You know, if we are together, who you know and who I know, and then if we are together, who you know and who I know, that will be definitely something that can make change in big picture or in big area. So that being said, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to our show today. I want to give a minute or second to Sister Juliet to tell us if there is anything that you would like to say that I did not touch.
I just want to say that when we see Black people destroying Black people, can we not support it? Yeah, because we're the ones that give it life. We're the ones that give it views. If we didn't support it, we didn't watch it, we didn't encourage it, it wouldn't hydrate. It wouldn't happen. You know, and so this is a problem that we have, is that when we see negativity and drama, we're drawn towards it. And when there's something good, it's like we run away from it. So I'm asking, you know, just that we can maybe examine our behavior, change our behavior, and, you know, try to now start supporting positivity instead of drama, and stop giving life to people that destroy us. That's what I'd just like to say. And I just want to say thank you for having me on today. It's been a great show. I'm sure I've probably spoken too much and probably said things I wasn't supposed to say, but needless to say,
well, that's what the New African Network is for, sister. Yeah, we speak our mind here. We're not worried about what anybody else think. This is a free-thinking Black people organization, and for certainly whatever we say is bona fide through us, is FUBU for us, by us. And thank you, sister, for coming on. Any last remarks?
Yeah, just like
can you tell us? Yeah, tell us how we can, before you go, tell us about your communications. How can the brothers and sisters reach you over there in the Gambia?
Okay, so they can reach myself and Canada Briggs via info@Bla-Xitgroup.com. That's info@Bla-Xitgroup.com. Or they can call WhatsApp or text WhatsApp. It's better if you text, actually, on +220 240 5273. That's +220 240 5273. And that's info@Bla-Xit Group, GROUP. Yeah.
Very
Black
good.
Power.
Now, thank you so much. Now, do you still have the movement to bring people to the Gambia?
Yes, of course.
Are
We're
you
doing
still
very
working on
well.
that? Okay.
Oh yeah,
So,
absolutely. We've made great strides. We've been really, really successful.
okay. So that means people, if you want to come home and check out what's going on in Africa, please reach out to Sister Juliet. She already gave you her number. I don't remember the number, so I didn't memorize that, but you mentioned the number, so you can definitely have two or do citizenships. I think that's one of the things that people are afraid of, is that if I go to Africa, maybe I'm gonna lose my my Jamaican citizenship or my British citizenship or my. No, you don't have to lose it. You can definitely be both. You can build Africa, but also stay in the country where you are living, maybe in the sake of your children, or education, or business, or maybe you like to eat a lot of burgers and the McDonald's. Maybe you may not find them, like here in Ethiopia, we don't have McDonald's. So you can definitely have both. You don't have to destroy one and to have another one. You can keep both, If you want to, you can come to Africa and like what people they do in South Africa. They go there for vacation when it's very, very hot when it's very cold in Europe. So anyways, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. This was a New Africa Network Pan-African Academy, where we discuss so much going on in the Black people community globally. Our intention is to make sure that the time for revolution is at the hand. I wish you a nice weekend. Brother Eugene, in closing, do you have anything to say?
No, thank you, brothers and sisters, for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you next week. This time next week, special guest will be Brother Greg Marcel Dixon, who is going to be running for a congressional seat here in the United States out of South Carolina. So we look forward to having that brother on next week to share information to the Black community worldwide. So Black Power and One Love, and we'll see you this time next week.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
One
be
love.
blessed. Okay, bye.
Peace.
Bye. Okay, bye.
Country in the world. However, you might be very surprised to find out why Haiti is the poorest country in the world. Haiti was one of the richest places on the planet in the 1700s. The population of Haiti was 4-to-1 slave to free Frenchmen. So you basically had about 450,000 slaves there and 120,000, 125,000 free Frenchmen and women. Led by a slave named Toussaint, Haiti successfully overthrew one of the most powerful armies on the planet in 1804 and declared their independence. However,
yeah, that means Haiti was the first country, or the first Black country or Black nation, to be free, to be liberated, and to defeat the big power of Europe or colonizers.
France made a deal with them, with warships at the ready, saying that we will invade you, recapture you, and re-enslave you unless you pay for the lost property.
Unless you pay the loss of property. That means that France told the Haitians, since you guys want to be independence, since you guys want to be free, since you guys want to be not be under the yoke of colonization, you're going to have to pay us to not colonize you.
Well, that lost property was the human lives of the Haitians themselves. So France slapped Haiti with a $21 billion bill.
$21 billion back in 1804. So around more than 200 years ago.
That's $21 billion in today's money. It took until 1947 to pay off the initial loan. It took Haiti almost 150 years to pay off that loan.
Listen to that. So Haiti have to pay 200 years paying the money, this money that the France have to put to them to pay 200 years.
And obviously you guys know about loans and financing and debt. So how did Haiti pay that money off? Especially because France forced them to give them 50% off of their products.
So it's not only that they have to pay for the loan, but also I can't even say this is, I think it's very, very ridiculous, but it's not that they have to pay the money. They will also have to pay any production, any products that come from Haiti. They have to pay 50%, which means like if they have to produce sugar or tobacco or anything or diamond or gold, they have to pay 50% to France. Now listen to this. It's not really different with the pact of continuation of colonization, by the way. It's still going on in 16 countries in Africa.
Haiti was accounting for 3/4 of the world's sugar at the time, and I think a quarter or maybe 1/3 of the entire slave trade at the time. Saint-Domingue was also known as the capital of the slave trade in the West.
So Saint-Domingue is the preview name or the original name of the name that time was for Haiti. It's not something new. So it's Saint-Domingue become Haiti because when Haiti get independence and established a government, it took back its name, the original name of Haiti. Oh, it's called Haiti, by the way, in the language or the local language.
And also the worst place for a slave to end up because it was so brutal, torturous, and you could be raped and kidnapped at any point in time and sent anywhere in the world. So that debt was financed and collected by French banks, as well as an American bank that was established in 1812, which is called Citibank.
Listen to that. So the Citibank is running off the money that they took from Haiti.
That's right. Your bank has been collecting money from Haitian people to pay for their own freedom since 1812 and stopped only in 1947. When
it was finished, when Haiti finished to pay the money they were charged, that is when the Citibank decided to stop taking the money from Haiti. So pretty much if you are using Citibank, you are using Haitian money, which you are come back another side and say that Haiti is a poor country. Are you serious? You every time you see people saying Haiti is poor and poor, but the money that Haiti is supposed to be running on, the gold that's supposed to be running on Haiti, is everything is in Western countries, in America, it's in France.
Resources and the people working the land that Haiti had, it should have been one of the richest countries in the world. But the transfer of wealth from Haiti to France and Haiti to French banks and Haiti to American banks to finance what is called the independence debt, which is no more than a debt for the descendants of slavery to continue to pay the countries and the people that enslaved them for their own freedom. It's well documented. It's well documented that the debt was based on slave owners losing their property.
So slave owners losing their property, that means that they are losing you. In fact, I think this is still going on even now today, as I was saying about a pact of continuation of colonization going on in 16 countries in Africa with France. So pretty much if they will lose that, someone would have to pay for that. And think something like that. And then we come back, we say that, oh, we're looking for peace. We're looking for this and that. How do you looking for peace with people like this, who are actually the most of exploitative people who are endangering people's lives, in fact?
In 2004, the Haitian government demanded that France pay back the billions of dollars that it forced the Haitian people to pay for its own freedom. So think about this. It's like France had their warships ready, just basically gangstered their way into Haiti's pockets. After Haiti beat the French military in 1804, by 1825, France had warships at the ready. Off the coast of Haiti, looking at
Listen to this. This is very, very ridiculous.
the island like, nice island you got there. Be a real shame if something happened to it. Okay? So basically France is like, nice island you got there. Nice freedom you've gained there. Be ashamed if something happened to it. Wow.
Yeah.
That's the most gangster, ridiculous, disgraceful shit I've ever heard in my life. In 2004, the Haitian government demanded that France pay back the billions of dollars it...
You know, Haiti is just asking, like how been asking in Africa, can we please get our historically status arts that you guys took from our kingdoms, Kingdom Benin, Kingdom Mali, Kingdom of Congo, or everywhere they took Kingdom Zambia and Ethiopia, and why don't you give us our stuff back? And then guess what? They don't give that to us.
Paid to protect its own borders and to be a sovereign nation. Can you imagine if you had to pay somebody so that they wouldn't attack you? If you had to pay somebody so that they wouldn't enslave you? If you had to pay somebody because your great-grandparents had been kidnapped and held hostage, and the price that you had to pay for a free life was billions of dollars to the people who did it.
Yeah, to the people who did enslave your ancestors, not them paying you because they mistreat you. So no, and what is the justice? Obviously, if United Nations was working entity, if there is this how do you call these things, the courts of international court criminal, some stupid things, what is the justice for that? Like, why don't they say anything about this?
I'm trying to wrap my head around what that would feel like, and I guess you have to ask a Haitian person. Wow, France, really? Really? And after the Haitian government demanded that France pay back the billions of dollars that it unfairly had to pay to France to keep their sovereignty, to keep their freedom, to keep their lives, 11 years later in 2015, France said, fuck you.
France said, don't worry about that. We will not pay you, but not only that, we will not pay you. We're going to come back possibly and destroy your country, which is they are doing now.
Really, France? Wow, that's not going to age well. So if you've ever wondered why Haiti's so poor, ask France.
Very good. So if you ever want to know why Haiti is so poor, ask France. Ask the one who did it. But also remember that Haiti is one of the most very important country when it comes to African liberation. Why? Because it was definitely the first country to be independent, as I said, but also the Constitution of Haiti. The first Constitution of Haiti, it was definitely among the top complicated constitution that what people did not want. That's why maybe the Haiti has changed constitution more than 12 times, I believe, since the constitution of 1805, if I'm not mistaken. So if you are listening to me, please one day Google the first constitution, the first Haitian constitution. So anyways, that being said, this is how we end our program today. I just want to let you know something very, very important, that we are opening a new channel. It's called Ukweli Kwanza YouTube channel, which is gonna be focusing on the truth about our spiritual problem as African, because I found out that people will not kill Black people like this just to kill them. They hunt us, they destroy Black people. Everywhere we go, we are in the problem. It's not just because they just don't like us. There must be something spiritual behind it. And that's where we're going to be addressing all of those things so that you can be you can be educated spiritually. So if you want to join our channel, it's called Ukweli Kwanza. Ukweli Kwanza YouTube channel is gonna be focusing on African spiritual stuff, where we're gonna be focusing on a lot of things. And as you may know, those who are not liberated spiritual cannot be liberated physically. So you have to liberate someone spiritual before you think of liberating them spiritually. So that is for today. That is for today, and our YouTube channel is called Ukweli Kwanza. Ukweli Kwanza, which means that the truth first. The truth first is the YouTube channel that we're gonna be putting those things on. So Ukweli Kwanza. Ukweli Kwanza means the truth first. That's where we're gonna be focusing on the spiritual things. This only has to be for membership only, because we don't want anyone who is not African to join the channel. Of course, there will be some small pieces that may be on YouTube or public, but most of things will be private, will be for the family members only, so that we can liberate our people spiritually. Again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. We had Sister Juliet from the Gambia. She was telling us how the movement of bringing people back to Africa is going, which is Bla-Xit. She started in 2018, I believe that's what she said. And where you can find her at. Again, I think you can see her name. You can always Google her if you want to go back to Africa and buy a land or buy a house, or just for vacation, joining her. Again, I wish you a wonderful weekend. So I will see you guys tomorrow at 6 p.m. in East Africa time, where we're going to be in Kiswahili. We'll be talking a lot of things. And again, don't forget to check out our Pan-African calendar, where we go over and look what's happened every month about Black people. Have a nice week, and bye. My name is Emmanuel Hani Paulo, African nationalist, or I don't like to say Pan-African because that's not African name, but anyways, some African nationalists or Black nationalists. I don't know if that one is good either too, because I think that's for Black people in America who want to have a nation. But I'm African nationalist. I believe that Africa must have United States of Africa, and very soon we will bring you a platform where we can discuss this and how we're going to put this together. Have a nice weekend. May God bless Africa.